Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the electric fish Pokemon known as Shibirudon. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, ability, and stats. So first off, Shibirudon is a mono-electric type Pokemon, meaning that it has standard electric type weaknesses and resistances. As for its ability though, which is Levitate, that completely gets rid of the electric type weakness to ground, which is actually electric type's only weakness. So essentially you get Shibirudon, who is similar to Spiritomb in the fact that it has no weaknesses, which is completely awesome, and definitely allows Shibirudon to switch in on any potential attackers because you know that you will never ever take a super effective hit unless your opponent has Mold Breaker as their ability to nullify your Levitate. But that's that's really the only case where that would happen. So luckily, this also prevents you from being affected by Toxic Spikes, Regular Spikes, and Arena Trap. So Levitate is an excellent ability on Shibirudon. As for its stats, it has 85 HP coupled with 80 defense and 80 special defense, which is actually decent defenses, meaning that Shibirudon can definitely take some hits when you need it to, if you want to put EVs into those stats as well. As for its attacking stats though, both of them are extremely useful, with 115 for the physical side and 105 for the special attacking side. So no matter which way you go, physical or special, you can be guaranteed to do a ton of damage to anything because of how high these attacking stats are. As for its speed though, it is unfortunately a pretty low 50, meaning that this Pokemon won't be able to outspeed a lot of different things, which is kind of a shame because of the fact that it has such high attack power. But because of that, I kind of consider this Pokemon to be the electric version of Octillery, because it has great attacking stats but doesn't have the speed to back it up, which is quite unfortunate. But luckily, since you are an electric type, you do have easy access to Thunder Wave, so that could easily remedy the problem if you choose to do so. But that's about it for the stats, so let's get looking at a couple of movesets for Shibirudon. So this first set is my favorite of the three I'm going to show you today because of the fact that it combines high attack power with high defense. So first, we're going to give Shibirudon a Careful Nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack. And then we're going to be making use of the ability Levitate, obviously, because it is the only ability that this Pokemon can get. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give you max HP, 4 for defense to give you 1 more point into that stat, and then 252 EVs into special defense to give you your max special defense possible. And because we're going to be very bulky, or trying to be, we're going to be using leftovers as a way to recover some HP at the end of every turn. As for the moves, the first one we're going to make use of is known as Coil, which is a cool new move and it's a poison type stat boosting move. And what it does is it increases your attack, your physical defense, and your accuracy. So it's kind of like basically a bulk up, but it also increases accuracy. So we're going to be using this to increase your defense to give you really high defenses in both the physical and special defense, and also increase your already high physical attack, because even with no unboosted, even unboosted by EVs or nature, it's still already really high. So after one coil, you're pretty much set to go when it comes to attacking Pokemon and hurting them for a lot of damage. As for the attacking moves, though, that we're going to be using with this, the first is going to be Wild Bolt because it's probably the best physical electric move to use, and it's always great to have that because of the fact that we're also using leftovers, so we don't really have to worry so much about the recoil since the leftovers can help you recover that back, but it's just a good, powerful electric move to use that'll get stabbed. With that, we're also going to use Brick Break as a way to get more type coverage and hit things that Wild Bolt obviously won't be able to hit for super effective or neutral damage. And then lastly, it's a toss-up between Crunch or Dragon Claw. Both have their advantages. Obviously, Dragon Claw is only resisted by Steel, which Brick Break is super effective against, so I guess that will give you the best type coverage possible if you're thinking about that. But Dragon Claw also isn't really super effective against a lot of things like Crunch is. So it's really up to you which one you want to use. They're both really good options to make use of in this physical set. But with high special defense and then high defense and attack from the coils you're getting, Shibirudon will be a very effective Pokemon in anyone's team because of the fact that it can take hits and also deal them out as well. As for this next set, we're going to be making use of Shibirudon's high special attack. But instead of making us like mixed bulky and using stat boosting moves, we're just going to go all out offensive with this. So we're going to give Shibirudon a modest nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack. And again, we're going to use the ability Levitate. And then for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP, 4 for defense, and 252 into special attack to give you your max HP, max special attack, and then 1 more point into your physical defense. As for the item, again, we're going to be making use of leftovers just because it seems to be the most effective item to really make use of on this Pokemon because of the fact that using like a Choice Scarf or something still wouldn't make it that fast, and Life Orb really isn't a good option when you're slower than your opponent because of the fact that they can deal more damage to you before you can actually hit them with any of your attacking moves. So leftovers was the choice. But as for the moves, you get insane coverage with the amount of moves that this Pokemon can learn. So first we're going to use Grass Knot as a way to deal with the ground type and rock type Pokemon that usually are paired together, and generally they're fairly heavy. And since your main stab move, which would be Discharge in this case, can't hit ground types, Grass Knot is an excellent move to use against those Pokemon. Up next we have Acid Bomb, which, as you may already know, is an amazing new poison move that sharply lowers your opponent's defense. So once an Acid Bomb is used on any Pokemon, you could pretty much guarantee that Shibirudon will most likely be able to at least almost take it out with one of its attacking moves just because of how high its special attack stat is and then how low their special defense stat will be after an Acid Bomb. So that is really pretty much like the cornerstone of the set because of the fact that it's just so good on this Pokemon. Up next though we have Discharge, as I mentioned before. But the reason we're using this over something like Thunderbolt is because of the added chance of paralysis, because Thunderbolt doesn't have a 30% chance of paralysis like Discharge does. And since you are a pretty slow Pokemon, having Discharge to cause paralysis is always a plus and will definitely come in handy in any situation. Lastly, we have Flamethrower to round off this set as a way of obviously dealing damage to a ton of different things that Grass Knot, Acid Bomb, or Discharge can't really do damage against. And so it pretty much gives you really good type coverage overall. And after -2 special defense from an Acid Bomb, no Pokemon is going to want to take an attack from this guy because of how powerful it is. So that is pretty much like the main reason for this special set. Lastly, we have a mixed set for Shibirudon that is pretty unique. So first, we're going to give it a quiet nature to increase its special attack but lower its speed. And then again, we're going to be using Levitate. Also, we're going to be using 252 EVs for HP again, and 252 EVs for special attack, but the remainder of the EVs is going to go into special defense this time as opposed to physical defense. And then for the item, again, we're going to be using leftovers. As for the moves, the first one we're going to be making use of is Coil, like in the previous set. Now this will be very beneficial because of the fact that you're putting a lot of EVs into special attack, so by using Coil, you'll be increasing your physical attack, thus allowing you to effectively be a mixed set. Also, the defense boost is nice, but what we're really going for as well is the accuracy boost you get from Coil, which we will then use to use either Zap Cannon or Thunder, which will be incredibly powerful electric type moves that you will have at your disposal and will have high accuracy after a couple of coils. So the reason why I want to go with Zap Cannon though is because of the automatic paralysis that comes of it. And that's why we're using a quiet nature, because of the fact that the paralysis will pretty much take care of the speed drop we get from the quiet nature. Thunder also has a 30% chance of causing paralysis, so that's pretty good too. So either one would work, but I would rather go with Zap Cannon just because it's a lot cooler to be using Zap Cannon than Thunder. And then with that, for the physical side, after a couple coils, we're going to have Brick Break again, and then either Crunch or Dragon Claw, depending on what your preference is. But that is pretty much it for Shibirudon. This Pokemon is very powerful, as you can see, and is capable of dealing lots of damage, especially in the second set after an Acid Bomb dropping your opponent's special defense by 2 stages. But that's about it. So take care, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!